What happens when a kid from Carroll City, Florida, decides not just to become a millionaire, but to build his own kingdom? We're not talking about a house, not even a mansion. We're talking about a 235-acre estate with its own airport, a herd of buffalo, and golden water taps. This is the true story of William Leonard Roberts II, better known as Rick Ross. He owns over 100 luxury cars, an estate bigger than Central Park, a private farm with real buffalo. But it all started very differently. Rick Ross didn't just conquer the rap game, he built his own empire with chicken wings, private helicopters, and a vision. But behind all the gold and glamour lies a journey of contrast. From jail to the charts, from health crisis to business legend, from correctional officer to king of rap luxury. But his path wasn't always royal. Welcome to the life of the biggest boss. Born in 1976, Rick Ross grew up in the streets of Carroll City, a tough Miami neighborhood that felt more like a prison than a launching pad. Violence and poverty were daily reality. His mother was a nurse, his father a soldier. Money was tight, the future unclear. Luxury, not even close. What Ross had was a dream, and a voice deep as thunder, one that would one day hypnotize millions. But before music, he worked as a correctional officer, a job that many later criticized once his gangster rap career took off. But those who know Ross know this. He never shied away from hard work. His motto from day one, sometimes you have to walk through dirt to learn how to shine. And Ross knew, to have power, you have to master the game. So he didn't just play, he became the boss. With Hustlin' in 2006, he exploded on the airwaves. A track so raw and powerful, even Jay-Z took notice. One song, and suddenly he was standing beside Jay-Z, Diddy, Kanye. But Ross wanted more than gold records. He invested immediately, not just in chains, but in infrastructure. He wanted legacy. He founded Maybach Music Group, signing artists like Meek Mill, Whale, and Gunplay. He turned his name into a label, a movement, a statement. Ross wasn't just a rapper anymore. He was now a brand. But nothing, truly nothing, shows Ross's status more than his estate in Georgia, the former mansion of boxing legend Evander Holyfield. 109 rooms, 21 bathrooms, a dining room for 100 people, space for 500 guests, a spiral staircase that leads into the ceiling, just for the feeling. In 2014, Rick Ross bought possibly the most outrageous mansion in America for just $5.8 million. A bargain, a private lake, a pool the size of a motel, and on the grounds, buffalo, longhorns, cows, peacocks. Ross doesn't just call it a house, he calls it the promised land. Here he lives, shoots music videos, closes business deals. His car collection is so insane, it feels like a museum. Over 100 vehicles, Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, Maybachs, Lamborghinis. Many are classics like the Rolls-Royce Wraith, Lamborghini Murcielago, Maybach 57S, and McLaren 720S. Most are too beautiful to even drive. The twist? He owned many of them before he even had a driver's license. Just to own them. He collected cars for the aesthetics. Only in 2021 did he get his license. Why? Because my mom said I should finally get one. A 45-year-old multimillionaire, still listening to his mom. Boss move. And when Ross isn't driving, he's flying. Private jets, helicopters, first class only, true to his motto. If you think bigger than the streets, you need wings. But Rick Ross's life wasn't just gold and glitter. In 2011, he suffered 2 seizures within 6 hours. Violent, epileptic seizures. His body was sending a warning. He was overweight, overworked, overwhelmed. He was on the edge. The world nearly lost the biggest boss. But then came the turning point. He changed his diet, adjusted his lifestyle, cut out alcohol, trained regularly, and lost over 90 pounds. In his book Hurricanes, he describes how close he came to death and how he learned to survive. Today, he's an entrepreneur, author, and, relatively speaking, healthy. Rick Ross now owns over 30 Wingstop locations. He invests in Checkers, jet services, and real estate. He has his own beef label. He invests in crypto, fashion, even a barbershop in Miami. He created his own fragrance, a cognac brand, and of course, all things Maybach music. Ross is a real mogul. For him, it's clear, music opened the door, but business made me a boss. Ross is a CEO with a gold chain, and when he leaves his ranch, it's either by helicopter or in a Bentley reflected in the pool. Ross didn't just build a brand, he built a legacy. What defines Rick Ross today isn't just the money, it's what he gives back. He funds scholarships for students in Florida, advocates for Black entrepreneurship, launched Boss Up, a movement to inspire young Black people to build their own businesses. What many don't know, Rick Ross isn't just his own boss, he's a mentor. He supports young Black entrepreneurs with startup capital, initiates education projects in his old neighborhood. In 2021, he donated computer labs to local schools. Ross doesn't just live Black wealth, he passes it on. From prison guard to global star, from hustler to helicopter owner. Rick Ross proved Black wealth is more than gold chains and rap. It's vision, it's work, it's impact. His look is as legendary as his voice. Designer fits, heavy watches, diamond glimmer, always with his own style. He blends classic streetwear with European tailoring. He loves Louis Vuitton, but also supports local designers from Miami. His beard is iconic. His sunglasses, always custom made. Ross knows, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Make sure it speaks for you. Rick Ross is more than a rapper. He's a symbol of Black rise, strategic wealth, and luxury with substance. He lives the dream of many, but works harder than most. From correctional officer to king of the streets, from fast food kid to Wingstop owner, from overweight to disciplined mastermind. That's no coincidence. That's vision plus will plus hustle. And now the very best of Rick. What makes him a truly great person beyond all his wealth and fortune? Behind the luxury and the bravado, Rick Ross is also a father, and his family life is as layered as his music. Rick isn't married, but he's had several high-profile relationships over the years. And from those, he's built a growing family. He has at least 4 children, each playing an important role in his life and often featured in his social media posts and interviews. His eldest daughter, Toy Roberts, was born when Ross was still early in his career. He's often praised her for her ambition and strength. Toy has stayed relatively low-key, but her bond with her father is clearly close. When she turned 16, Ross threw her a lavish party that made headlines. A true celebration, the way only Rick Ross does it. Next is William Roberts III, his eldest son. There was a time when Ross dreamed of his son becoming a football star, and William did play in school. But as Ross has said, it's more important to him that his kids live with confidence and purpose, not just fame. Then there are 2 younger children Ross shares with ex-girlfriend Brianna Camille, his daughter Berkeley Hermes, and son William Leonard. After a public legal dispute over child support and paternity, Ross eventually acknowledged the children and reached a custody and support agreement. Since then, he's been seen spending time with them and including them in family moments. Rick Ross may rap about the hustle, power, and wealth, but when it comes to his kids, he's surprisingly grounded. He once said in an interview, "I let my children grow into young adults and decide for themselves which college they want to attend, what they want to be, what they want to do, how they want to do it, and where they want to do it." His parenting style, a mix of luxury, life lessons, and letting his kids find their own paths. He spoils them, sure, but he also reminds them where he came from and what it took to build the empire they now enjoy. For Rick Ross, legacy isn't just about music or money, it's about blood, family, and building something that lasts.